highways are slowly killing you. Every day we drive a total of 11 billion miles in the US, making up 84% of US transportation emissions. No matter how much effort you put into being healthy, these fumes are invading your body. These gases and fine particles include carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrocarbons, benzene, PM10, PM2.5, and microplastics and metals floating in the air from tire and brake wear.
Humans currently produce about 430 million tons of plastic waste each year, according to the United Nations. Small particles that linger in our environment and can be consumed by animals and people.
These tiny particles are infiltrating your lungs and blood, spreading throughout your systems, causing havoc from within. You breathe in this deadly cocktail on your way to your kid's school, in rush hour and vacation traffic, even just stopping at a traffic light. Air pollution from highways is a silent killer. It secretly poisons your body, allowing toxic chemicals to creep into your bloodstream and compromise your heart and brain function. Our societies are built around highways, and present-day America wouldn't exist without them. But what if I told you it didn't have to be this way? There are other options out there, and we'll get to them in a minute. But first, let's be honest. Highways have brought some benefits. Could you imagine how long it would take for you to go from your home to your work if I told you to avoid highways? Highways facilitate the transportation of people and goods across the nation. To go from A to B, most of us need to take the highway. To get on the highway, we need a car, resulting in 92% of American families being car owners. The highway offers us a chance to feel the freedom of the roads as you drive coast to coast, snowy mountains to desert plains, New York trash to LA snobs. Just kidding. Both cities have something to offer. But you have to admit, these people aren't easy to get along with.
Jokes suck. I don't like these fucking.
Building and maintaining roads has created hundreds of thousands of jobs as transportation departments try to improve traffic, safety, and air quality, the effectiveness of which is debatable. The ease of interstate travel has spurred economic activity in many ways. Businesses can quickly transport goods, lowering costs and expanding markets. People can go further for work and travel. It's clear that highways have brought us a lot of good, creating opportunities that were unimaginable before. But this shiny surface hides some dark secrets. For all its benefits, there are unavoidable costs we've been paying for generation after generation. Costs that are physically and financially killing us. July 8th, 1943. You're in Los Angeles and you see a thick cloud rolling in, blinding drivers all around you and creating a wave of panic. Mothers grab their children and run for shelter. Is it chemical warfare? No. It isn't an attack from a foreign country. It's smog, the monstrous creation of our love affair with the automobile. One person visiting LA in the 1950s described the air as if the entire world was peeling onions. Her lungs felt like they were burning. Children's baseball games were canceled. Clear days turned to dark skies, leaving asthmatic kids grasping for their inhalers. The 1960s and 70s saw a wake-up call. Pollution choked out the skies, turning vibrant cities into dystopian landscapes. The levels were so bad that they caused the passage of the National Environmental Protection Act and the Clean Air Act. Sure, since the 1970s, we've made significant strides. Carbon monoxide levels have dropped by 75%, and most air pollutants in the US have decreased. It might seem like we've ironed out all the kinks of our car-centric infrastructure. No more health or environmental issues to worry about, right? Wrong. Lead is a prime example. Lead, pumped into the air, lowers cognitive function and IQ in those who breathe it in. Leaded gasoline, a relic of the bell-bottom past, you might think, poisoned the air for decades, all the way up till 1996. This means that for all my millennial viewers, your first breath was likely filled with lead. Many experts now partly blame the mid-century crime wave on lead poisoning. A Duke University study showed that from 1956 to 1980, over 90% of children had enough lead in their blood to cause medical concern. Thankfully, by the early 90s, it dropped to a measly 24%. As mentioned before, lead exposure leads to a decline in intelligence. That same study estimates that the average American was down 2.6 IQ points due to lead. For the boomers, the average decline was close to 6 IQ points, which explains a lot of their life choices.
No sign shall be in the yard.
Sir, you know this is going to cause you a lot of trouble.
I don't give a with clippers. Get that camera. Get them clippers out of my face.
All of this came from breathing in car fumes. Today, we may have tackled the smoke that made us cough, feel like our lungs were on fire and our brains dumber. But now we face an even more sinister enemy. The pollutants we face are invisible. They don't trigger coughing fits or burning lungs, at least not immediately. They lurk in the air you breathe, seeping into your body. The EPA states that 35 million Americans, about 10% of the population, live near major roads. Research shows severe health issues from transportation happens within 500 meters of highways. Living close to those roads exposes people to harmful vehicle emissions. These include cancer-causing gases such as sulfate, nitrates, and toxic metals like lead and arsenic, as well as microplastics, which are linked to 100 to 200,000 early deaths each year in the US. Think about the last time you washed your car. You're probably familiar with the layers of grime and gunk you need a special cleaner for. Now imagine that layer of toxic gunk stuck inside your lungs. Our lungs don't have power washers that can handle these tiny invaders. Particles like PM10s and PM2.5s can be a fraction of the size of a grain of sand or even a human hair. They get stuck deep in your lungs, penetrating your blood vessels and hitching a ride all around your body, making a stop in all your major organs. These tiny particles trigger inflammation as your body fights back, narrowing blood vessels and raising blood pressure. This process increases the risk of stroke, a major cause of long-term disability. These particles also sow the seeds of cancer, crawling into your bloodstream and gradually destroying your body from within. They can dislodge vein plaques, potentially forming deadly clots. And it doesn't stop there. Cars are also insidious contributors to microplastic pollution. Each time a tire rolls down the highway, tiny particles are worn off. Brake pads and other plastic car parts degrade and are washed into our waterways by rain and runoff, eventually making their way into our oceans. When these particles enter our water supply, they don't just disappear. They end up in the fish we eat, the water we drink and cook with. Imagine enjoying a meal only to unknowingly ingest these toxic particles. The very food that should nourish us becomes a vehicle of even more pollution from our vehicles. Even worse, microplastics act like a sponge for harmful chemicals, attracting pollutants in the environment, making them even more toxic by the time you unintentionally get a mouthful of them. Like a bad burrito, you get to experience these toxins twice. As a child, your airways were small and growing. You breathed faster and took in more air than adults relative to your size. And at the time, your body's immune system was not fully developed. You likely played outside more with friends, breathing in more outdoor air. In an ideal world, this wouldn't be a problem, but we're not living in an ideal world. We just saw how bad polluted air can be for you. Now imagine breathing in even more of those toxins when you're still under construction and a quarter the size of an adult. Is it really all that surprising that so many kids have asthma and health issues lately? As you age, your lungs will weaken, but air pollution speeds up this process. Weakened lungs let in more contaminants, raising the risk of respiratory infection, pneumonia, and serious diseases. The pollutants you accumulate over time can even lead to cancer and Alzheimer's, robbing you of a dignified end of life. Getting pregnant unlocks another life stage where you'll face the real threat of pollution. Now you must worry about yourself and the baby. Exposure during pregnancy often leads to premature birth, low birth weight, and stillbirth. The cost is high, not just in healthcare, but also in the health and quality of life of the baby. If you happen to already have issues like asthma, heart disease, and diabetes, continuing to breathe polluted air is only going to make things worse. Those highway gases are also going to put a dent in your savings as you buy more overpriced medicine and have more costly doctor visits, leading to a reduction of quality of life and early death. This video is relevant to you. Why? Because over half of the adults have asthma, heart disease, diabetes, or are pre-diabetic. Odds are you know somebody who falls into this category, or you yourself might be that person. More than half the people you know are at risk of having a situation go from bad to worse by just existing near a roadway. From cradle to grave, air pollution is harming you. As a kid or as an elder, through no fault of your own, air pollution was and will once again kneecap you. And in the between decades, an unhealthy lifestyle gives air pollution special early access to helping you speedrun your healthy years and get to the costly unhealthy ones. Yet, you might be among the lucky few. Healthy, living far away from busy roads, and rarely visit the areas around them. If that's you, congratulations. You'll probably live a long, healthy life where you won't be an unwilling burden to your kids and grandkids as you age. But, can you say that about all the people in your life? What's the best way to avoid breathing in these chemicals? Living in the Alaskan woods? Taping your windows shut and running an industrial-sized purifier? Luckily, shutting out bad actors from your online activities is a lot easier. Every time you browse, create an account, or store files, hackers can steal your personal data. With data breaches and surveillances on the rise, it's a problem we all face. That's where Proton Unlimited comes in, the unlimited shield for your online privacy and security. This package gives you everything you need to browse safely. But it's not just a run-of-the-mill VPN deal. You also get access to Proton Pass. You can create and manage passwords securely and generate working alias emails for extra privacy when signing up for services. There's also Proton Drive to store your important files in secure cloud protected by end-to-end encryption. And lastly, Proton Mail to ensure only you can see your emails. The Big G and all its incarnations don't come anywhere close to providing you this level of security and privacy. And the best part, Proton Unlimited costs just $9.99 a month for an annual plan or $7.99 a month for a 2-year plan. The offer was so good that I got their 2-year plan and couldn't be happier. Ready to take control of your online privacy? Sign up for Proton Unlimited now and take the first steps towards securing your digital life. Don't wait. Your privacy deserves the best protection. So if you're tired of feeling exposed online, it's time to make a change. Click the link and start your journey towards unlimited online privacy with Proton Unlimited. Now back to the kill air out to get you. If you drive a car, you're inadvertently contributing to your own poisoning and that of thousands of others. But still, who can imagine life without a car? You have been trained to gladly buy and maintain the tool of your slow execution, and it's not cheap either. In the US, 92% of households own a car, yet car ownership is costly. Here are the average monthly expenses for your car. $723 for car payments, $147 for car premiums, $199 on gas, $123 on maintenance, the monthly average cost over 5 years, $64 on registration and fees. That's a total of $1,256 per month for car ownership. What would you do with that money if you could use it on other things? I would invest that money in a well-diversified mutual fund making an average annual return of 8% and NERD!
Wait, what?
Which begs the question, why do most of us own a car? Most likely, the answer is so you can go to work. How does that look? On average, it's a 27-minute commute with stop-and-go traffic, close call merges, and a bit of road rage. All while trying not to think about the possibility that you are one distracted driver away from meeting your maker. Or, if you're an atheist, one distracted driver away from permanent nothingness. With car karaoke sprinkled throughout. And you get to do this twice a day for about an hour a day, 5 times a week. Imagine your life without traffic stress. No lane changes, no exit worries. This stress harms your health, again, especially if you have health issues. Next time you're stuck in traffic, white-knuckling the wheel, think about that gas mix you're breathing in. Think about its slow burn effects on you and those around you. Think about the $1,200 you're burning a month so you can stew in that gas for an hour a day. The final punch in the gut is that there's a lot of other options out there. You shouldn't need to suffer like this. Yet, this is the option the powers that be forced on you. The current system is a sick joke. If the authorities pushed it on us today, you would recognize it for what it is, a hostile act. In fact, it's anti-human. It sacrifices your health and drains your money to pay for a machine that distributes deadly gases through your own community. Most think about the connectivity and economic growth created by highways, often overlooking the byproducts killing us. Highways aren't the only way to grow and develop a community. Many successful countries and cities have opted out of car-centric infrastructure. They have demolished highways and have never had to look back. We have many effective transportation options that offer the benefits of highways with minimal drawbacks. These include expanding mass transit through trains and buses and building cycling and walking paths. This isn't unheard of. The US used to be a very pedestrian-centric society, but it wasn't until the 1930s where a few business leaders used the coercive powers of government to create a Ponzi scheme that feeds into the growth and spread of highways. I go into this in more detail in this video if you want to know more. The reason many of these alternative infrastructure options aren't built or are poorly funded and executed is that those with political and economic means tend to oppose these projects. And it's not by coincidence that those people overwhelmingly are car-owning suburbanites. The roots that created this divide go back decades, the creation of which came from old segregationist government policies that our public education system didn't even teach you about, or at best gave a cursory overview. Uncover what they didn't want you to know in this video.